Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the actual final day of the Sagan workshop. I really appreciate those of you who have decided to show up here on a Saturday morning. Hopefully you are pre-caffeinated because, as announced yesterday, there is no caffeine. And those of you who are online, thank you very much for joining. And I hope that you are having whatever beverage it is that you are enjoying wherever you're sitting at home. Today's tutorial about EXCALIBUR is a little bit less formal than sort of the rest of the week. And even the Sagan workshop isn't like a super formal. It's really to get you guys engaged. But I just wanted to say a few words that kind of the purpose of this tutorial for the next few hours is to learn about this tool that has been developed up at JPL, led by Mark Swain and his group, to process through atmospheric data, and it has a unique perspective on how to do all of this, and it's a really wonderful tool that they're developing, and it'll eventually form the basis for the pipeline for processing data that they're going to do, because the same group is involved in Ariel through the case contribution to the Ariel mission. And so Mark had asked if he could use this opportunity to engage the young people, the early career folks who are working on atmospheric characterization, to get them to learn about EXCALIBUR and what it's doing and the science that's being accomplished with it. And we thought this was a really wonderful opportunity to tag on an extra few hours to the workshop to introduce you to the service and to the tools. In addition, we're working to turn this very specific science team oriented tool into something that can be accessible to the public, at least in a catalog form, and the products that the tool and the software suite is producing. And so there's part of today's tutorial is about what EXCALIBUR does and how it works and the philosophy behind it. Part of it is about we're working to make a public release of the catalog information that has been published and the data products that go with it, and tutorial around that service, even though it's in its infancy, so that you guys can start to become familiar with the service and the data products. And then eventually, and Mark's going to talk about this later on in the day, engagement with the EXCALIBUR team as a whole, and just becoming interested and involved. So just some logistical notes. This today is, as I mentioned, is not really intended to be as a full hands-on session the way the rest of the week had been. But you should feel free to engage and ask questions, interrupt, make this as useful for you as possible, so that you can get introduced, to members of the EXCALIBUR team, to get introduced to the service and the content and the portal, and get you thinking about this program and engaging with the team. And then, as a note, one sad note, as you all know, there is no coffee at the break, so I apologize for that. Hopefully, you are all able to stay awake on a Saturday morning. And then I just actually really want to say a final thank you. This is in particular to the entire Sagan Summer Workshop team for doing this on an extra day. In particular, Ellen, thank you so much for showing up on a Saturday morning after all this. I really appreciate it. And actually to all of you, both online and in person, for showing up. On Friday night, tends to be filled with beer and friends and engagement, and you still ended up here at 9 o'clock on an empty campus, or wherever you happen to be around the world. And then finally, I actually really want to say thank you to the EXCALIBUR team. This started off as a seed in Mark's brain and it turned out to be, I think, a pretty interesting set of presentations and discussions, and you guys put a lot into this. And I just want to say thank you to all of this. The workshops like this don't happen unless you guys put the work in. So I just wanted to say thank you. All right. So with that, this is the agenda. While there are times attached to this, it's actually going to be fairly loose. Some things will run short, some things might run a little long. We will endeavor to get out of here by noon.